What is up, everybody? We are live. It is Monday, January 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there is blood in the streets. Everything looks red. Crazy, man. You get in these trends where it just seems like it can never, ever go down, and then all at once you get a good taste. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott. Hi. I also go by the Wolf of All Streets. My wife made t-shirts. I'm wearing one. This is not one of a kind. There's about 20 of them in existence, but if I burn 19 of them, then this will be worth at least 50 cents in 50 years. Appreciate all of you guys coming to hang out. I should first say that this stream is sponsored by Phemex, P-H-E-M-E-X. You can check them out. There's a link in the description. You can also check out a link to my newsletter in the description, which goes out 5 days a week for $15 a month. And I share all of this kind of analysis and much, much more. So guys, what's happening? Bitcoin down about 28% from the top when it bottomed out today, if it has bottomed out, which is a strong question. Entire market is pretty much red. I have coin market cap pulled up here just to give you an idea. Bitcoin itself down about 12.5% right now. And Litecoin 22, Bitcoin Cash 23, Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, B-Trash. These are the B-Trashes, 21%. As you can see, just going down and down and down, and everything's red. But, can you provide 1080p? Someone just asked. Yeah, no, my computer's a POS. I've been waiting for a new one for ages, and the last new one I got broke before I could use it. So what's interesting to note here is that everything's red here in the dollar amounts, but not many things are down much further than Bitcoin. So for once, we're seeing this sort of drop, but in terms of Bitcoin value, many alts are actually holding up well. It doesn't seem so intellectually when you look down the thing, but anything that's under 12% is actually up. So I can only speak for my own portfolio, which is pretty disgusting today, but up in Bitcoin value and down massively in dollar value. And as I tweeted today, it's actually, you guys were here with me. I was on Twitter taking just an absolute beating all last week, saying that I was taking profit. I started by taking 2% around current prices off the table. Took quite a bit more, around 39, 40,000. Just skimmed off the top of a lot of positions and took quite a lot of hell for it. Then price dropped. A good illustration of why if you are overweight, you take some profit. I'm not saying it won't go back up. I believe that I will still have sold quote unquote cheap before prices go way back up again, which they will. Just for me, if I'm way too overexposed and things have grown too much, I need to, for my own sanity, I need to take profit. I had the opportunity to basically make my 2021 earning cover everything in my whole life in the first week of the year. That's not an opportunity that I'm going to pass up. I believe in Bitcoin, but I'm also going to take that out to dollars. Taxes are covered. I'm good. So yeah, I took some profit, but because my portfolio has grown so much this year, that still means that not as a percentage, but in total numbers, today was the worst blood I've ever experienced in my life as a trader. Really, really insane numbers. Buy a really nice house kind of numbers, but it's fine because that's part of the game, and you have to keep a level head and know that you're doing your best and following your plan. So what I want to do today is dig in a bit into the Bitcoin chart. I have the Ethereum chart pulled up, and I went with completely naked charts here. So we're gonna look at them, as if we've never looked at them before. Pull everything up completely clean and start fresh to give you guys an idea of how I would look at the chart and what I would be looking at now if this was the first time in history that I'd ever looked at a Bitcoin chart. So this is Coinbase. I would have preferred to pull up Bitstamp, but all right, this is Coinbase. I generally like to do Bitstamp because that's where the big boys trade. This is the monthly chart. First of all, some perspective. Does this look bad to you? Doesn't look bad to me. Looks mega bullish, right? I mean, this candle is not even remotely fully formed. We're only 10 days into the month or so. But let's look at a few things here. First, if you've been following me or you're subscribed to the newsletter, this is the most obvious line on the chart. I don't know that it will be retested, but the previous all-time high has never been retested as support, and there would be nothing bearish about seeing price come down and retest that level. Nothing bearish at all. As much as it says it, as much as it's scary to think about that, there's nothing bearish about it. Someone just asked, you say big boys trade Bitstamp. I was under the impression that institutions were using Coinbase as of late. Michael Saylor. Yeah, when I talk about big boys and Bitstamp, I'm talking about the big crypto traders. The Michael Saylors and such of the world may be facilitating buys on Coinbase to hold, but if you're talking about trading, Bitstamp is where the heaviest liquidity has always gone in the Bitcoin market. So listen, this line, I'm not saying it'll be retested, but it's begging to. And ideally in a bull run, you want to see the most key resistances tested as support. But I don't know that that will actually happen. Zoom out even further. Something really interesting. I haven't looked at it on this chart, but it jumps right out at me. Is that, take a channel tool, something like this. I don't know. Maybe pull it back to here. It's ugly, but and it's not quite working well, but something like this, with those, wow, my computer's tripping. Yeah, I can pull that up on another chart, but we have this very key level, and we're gonna have to drill in, I think, to other timeframes to discern new levels. When you go into price discovery, like we have above that previous all-time high, which we can draw here on this time frame as well, it's hard to chart. Right? We've gone up at a parabolic pace, and it's never really left a chance for there to be much resistance and support. You can tell that this candle ended here. This one kind of retested it. So maybe that's a level. Maybe we're breaking down a level that's right here, but still really hard to see on that time frame what we should be looking at. So, and I'm not really looking at monthly levels below that one that I drew. Like, I'm not concerned. If we're going below this, then we've really got problems. But, if you're a supply and demand trader, since we've never had a down candle in this entire monthly trend, there's probably people that are looking for this 9,000 to 11,000, right? Don't think it'll happen. Worth keeping your mind on, though. Let's look at the daily chart. Let's get rid of these levels. What do we got? Okay, first thing I want to talk about on the daily is something really obvious. I pointed this out on Twitter, actually, on the 12-hour and in the newsletter. But let's take a look at volume down here at the bottom. This is March, when crypto, quote unquote, died, right? This is March 13th, March 12th, and March 13th. March 12th, we had the largest effective selling candle in history. March 13th, biggest bounce, green volume. So you can see that here, right? Let's just take a horizontal line. Where's the next biggest candle since then? Right there, right? Ignore the price over here. I'm just using the line tool. We are way above it. This is the largest volume sell-off or volume candle in general that we've had in this entire run. That's meaningful, right? That's a little scary. I'm not saying that it means price is going to go down further or anything, but we always talk about volume confirming price, right? If we see price going up and volume dropping, that trend is exhausting and it's likely to drop. But we had volume going up this whole time, right? This last whole leg from 20 grand, volume was going up consistently. And topped out up here, right? Now, when you see a sell-off and the volume increases, that means it's a true sell-off. It's not consolidation. It's generally means that there's real interest in selling at those prices. That doesn't mean we haven't already finished that selling, but it's worth paying attention to. This is real selling confirmed by volume. If you drill into the 12-hour, let's see where that volume is. look, so I said that at the last 12-hour candle on Twitter here. This 12-hour candle is going to be much bigger. There's 5 hours left. So ultimately, this could be the biggest 12-hour candle and biggest daily candle, even including March, depending on how the end of this day goes. So, don't think that this was just some like random little push down because, there wasn't much on the books or anything. This is real selling. Somebody with a lot of Bitcoin is selling into this move. Like I said, not really a big deal, but worth keeping your eye on. So let's go back to the daily. That's the previous all-time high, I assume. Going all the way back. Yep. Line left over. And let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. And I'm going to come back and read your guys' comments in a minute. I just want to dig into this a bit further. All right. So when you drill into the daily, you get a little more like obvious. And this isn't necessarily like technical analysis. You just look at areas where there's been a lot of action. So this whole area. And then I would say this whole area. And where we are now had some action, right? These are the areas that are begging to be retested. So, for me personally, if this continues to sell off, I'd be I haven't really been trading. I'd be pretty hard pressed not to take those profits and plow back in around like 25K through here. I think that would be a really, really good buying opportunity and likely to front run a retest of this area here. Okay. Right? Because what do they always do to you? You put your orders right on a line, which you should never do. And then price stops here, right? Like you put your order here, like a good trader, exactly on the line. And where does price go? Right here, right? That's because everybody's watching the same lines and the bigger money gets in ahead of you. Same thing happens when you're trying to sell, by the way. You're like, I'm going to sell 43 and it dumps at 42. So, yeah. So I think that these are the areas in general that I would be watching for some action. But still, it's really hard here to draw clear levels because this thing went parabolic. I would say that, we likely have something here. Yeah, they'll be cleaner on a 4-hour. But it alludes to the same areas, right? I mean, it just takes us to the same areas. And then obviously we start getting down like 16,000, but I'm not really worried about that. But this candle structure it's not great. This would have been your first sort of clue, but that was only at 32,000. And then the move up, you have this little almost doji spinning top here, which is a sign of indecision. So when you see that followed by a down candle, even though it had a nice big down wick, that's a signal that selling is commencing, right? Exhausted uptrend, indecision candle, really indecisive candle, and it's red or blue in this case. Down candle, bigger sell-off. So this was kind of from a daily perspective, if you're a candle trader, this should have given you pause and shown you some warning. Right. So let's see, maybe we'll go down to the 4-hour because, like when we see drops and things like this is my kind of favorite time frame to drill into. So first, let's take it from a purely supply and demand perspective on the 4-hour. And look, there's actually a green candle. So we could see a larger green candle, larger buying candle than any of the selling if this ultimately closes green. But that does mean there's some interest here, whether this closes blue or not. But I don't love the long wick up and that's continued push down. Sellers are still clearly in control here if you want to take it from that perspective. But also fuck them. Because nobody likes a bear. Like literally nobody likes bears. I always say this, but like, have you ever gone to Vegas or Atlantic City or Macau, wherever the hell you guys go do your degenerate stuff, and you're at like an amazing craps table and there's like 20 people and everybody's rolling and cheering and you're hitting points and stuff. And then some guy walks up, just like casually puts his money on the don't pass line. And if you don't play craps, that means he's effectively betting on the table, against the table, right? He's betting that you'll hit a point, like you'll come out rolling, hit an 8, everyone wants an 8, 7, he gets paid, right? That's bears in crypto. They're the dudes who like are haters and want everybody else to lose, even when it's exciting. Nobody likes those guys. Nobody likes those guys. So I would just say that don't be that guy, first of all, especially if you're vocal about it and you cheer against the table. That's a good way to catch a very quick beating or to be without a girlfriend forever. Nobody likes those people. So from a supply and demand perspective, I would say that these are our key levels. That's not even the tool I'm trying to use, bruh. Coffee today, man. Let me tell you. Oh, you're down enough to send your kids to college for 30 years today. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter. What's amazing though is everybody's down so far today. I'm going to redraw that. Everyone's down so far today, but we're all kind of up since like 5 days ago. Right? I couldn't believe how good 2021 was starting. So of course it's inevitable that it was going to drop. It's just the way it is, right? I would even, you could put this up here. It's clearly where it broke down, but you could draw these off of either of these. So, you know, like I would say maybe we have some clear, God, I keep drawing the wrong tool, which makes me a tool, non-ironically. So something like this, right? And if we drop through this one, I would say that the next clear area is down here. Don't be that guy at the craps table. Everybody hates that guy. Like, we get it. You want to make money, but like, don't have to make money in principle by being a hater. It's more fun to do it with everyone else. I'm not saying you should never short Bitcoin. I'm just saying shut up because nobody likes you. Somebody just asked me, may I ask how often you trade in a market this volatile? I've been pretty vocal lately saying that I actually am not trading. And that's not because I don't think this is a good market to trade in. I think that volatility is incredible. But it got to a point for me, hey, if it keeps going down, I'll be broke. And this won't be the case. But it got to a point with me where because I hold primarily, right? I'm always invested at least 70% of my portfolio I don't touch, right? I only trade with 15 to 20%. Yeah, fuck bears, said Bruno. I only trade with, 15, 20% of my stack. So it got to a point where the investments were doing so well on this rise that it literally just didn't make sense for me to spend my time trading because, listen, there's guys in this market. I see them on Twitter all the time. You guys see them. You probably idolize them. And it's amazing, $30 million positions, $5 million positions, $10 million positions. That'll never be me. And so, it's just, I'm not comfortable with that level. Money still has value to me at a certain level where I'm just not going to lose, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a single trade, which is amazing because I'll do it. I'll watch my portfolio do it, but on a single trade, I just can't do that. So even when the numbers get too big to be that fair 1% or 2% of my portfolio, I just kind of stop trading and let the investments do work. And this is something I talk about all the time. There's basically two reasons to trade, right? Make money and free up time. I didn't become a trader so that I could work more hours than I would on a double shift at Burger King. What's the point, right? I'm trading so that I can spend time with my family, have free time. So if my investments are passively doing that for me, why would I trade, right? I love it. It's great, but it's stressful. I don't want to do it right now. So I have not been trading this. And like I said, I was taking profit, from 33,000 to 40,000, which is right around where we are. I'm not eager to jump back in at the same prices just because price dropped. So if we go down into the mid 20s, 20K, I might see it as an opportunity that I can't pass. So, so that's the gist of that. Sorry, I'm a bit long-winded, kind of my thing. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I have an attention deficit disorder. If I get going, I'm an unstoppable force of nature. Just ask my wife and kids who want me to shut up all the time. Okay, so let's add, so that's that perspective, right? Next thing I would kind of think of is like to pull up, I don't know, MAs, right? So here is the 50. I talk about this all the time. And this is interesting here. Really interesting, actually. We go ahead and just put this big, and we'll make it red to make it more conspicuous. Let's go back and look at the 50 MA. We can even get rid of the 200 and see how price has tracked it. This is 10,000s, right? We never get very far below it, but on this run, it's been basically like the most consistent support, even when it drops below a little, right? We're talking about 1,000 here. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This is the first time we've really, really lost it in a very long time. So like if I was trading on this first drop, I would have taken a long here and stopped out right here, 36.3. I would have taken that long, holding and hoping that this would hold as support, because if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. And I'd be looking for something like this. Wick below, close above. Did not happen. Wasn't trading it, but I would have, and I would have stopped out for sure. So, but look at the retest. I mean, zoom in. Right? That is a textbook short. You exit your long here when you know that you've closed below and you've lost it, and then you short the retest. And that's like to the penny. Okay. Good news, however, is that we have kind of a tweezer bottom here, right? And this candle has real volume and real buying interest. So we'll see if that's exhausted and we continue down, or if this ultimately turns out to be a bottom and heads back up. So what I want to, let's also, I mean, since we're here and I've got your attention, let's look at some pivots. Not something I pull up that often for you guys, but they're cool because while most things in technical analysis are somewhat arbitrary, pivots are math, right? They're calculated on the open, close, and they're an average of all the key points during a period. So they give us, you know, they're well defined. They're not arbitrary. It's not a line that you draw. It's not a Fibonacci thing. It's simple math. So this is interesting, right? Because this bounced right above the S1. Let's see what the other time frames are saying. Right above the S1 on the 6 hour. Right above the S1 on the 12 hour. And the daily has lost the R1 so far. So if you're trading pivots on the daily, you want to see the daily close above about 33,000 and hold that pivot. Otherwise, you begin to get a target in that area I discussed at 25,323 at the P. Expect it maybe to drop down and go up from there. So, you know, you can pull up pivots. Like I said, it's an indicator. You just pull them up. They're mathematical. So you don't have to really worry about figuring out a way to draw them. They just come up on your chart. And you can see it lost P, just like that is exactly where the 50 MA was actually. Confluence, right? Lost it, retested it as resistance, and headed down to the next one. So if this loses the S2 on the 4 hour, you would theoretically start looking to the S1. You'd start looking to the S2 at 21,651, where the dickhead at the craps table is probably waiting and laughing. Because nobody likes that guy. Everybody hates that guy. Like literally. Nobody likes that guy. Let's check out the itchy cloud. I used to be a super cloud maximalist. This is what I used to trade. Oh, I haven't looked at this, but that's interesting. Okay. So for those of you who have never traded the cloud, it's a really cool technique. It has two MAs, the Tenkan and the Kijun. Tenkan is the shorter moving MA. The Kijun is the longer moving MA. On the daily, the Kijun was basically the key support through the entire 2017 bull run. Again, on the daily. So right now you're getting a mixed message from the cloud, right? But not yet, because we have the Tenkan. You would not want to see a death cross, which means that the blue line crosses down the red line, but it is turning up at the moment. That would be a bearish signal, and a signal when it's above the cloud for you to close your longs. It's not a signal to short necessarily, but a signal to close your longs. If it happened below the cloud, it would be a signal to short. But you'll see that the cloud is green, which generally is bullish, and at the top of the cloud, which should be strong support, is currently holding as support. So you'd be looking for something like this, you know. That's the kind of thing you would be looking for at this moment. So that's an interesting view. I'm going to assume that if we zoom out, we're going to be way above the cloud on basically every time frame. Yeah, 6 hour getting further, 12, perfect bounce off the QJune. Not there yet, but I would, if you're a cloud trader, you're looking for an entry at 28. Like, no question, you take an entry off that. But like the cloud is way down here at 16,000. You're not thinking about that yet. Weekly cloud, so far below, right? Boom. Monthly, meh, I don't know. So you know that if I'm really trying to trade something, what am I looking for? Do you guys know? Any guesses? I'm looking at your comments over here on the other screen. If we retest 20K, do you think it will take a few more years to get to 40K? No, like days. Not worried about. I do not think that this, even though CNN just said we're now in a bear market. No, I don't think that's the case. So I pulled up a naked line chart, right? So I love line charts because they eliminate the candle noise. The candle gives you much more information. That's true. That's true. But a line chart is really simple. And I think if you're a new trader, that a line chart can give you most of the information that you need without making things too complicated. So this is the daily. You can see, listen, RSI was at 90. Like, let's go back. Okay, last time it was higher than that was December 2017, the top of the market, period. Right? It's been 3 years since we've seen RSI that high on the daily. So cool off is somewhat inevitable, right? Oh, yeah, I'm going to take a note of that. Cool off was somewhat inevitable. So let's go down to my favorite time frame for divs. This is the 4 hour. First of all, how many times was I screaming that if we're overbought, RSI has to make a trip to oversold? Has to. In all of history, there's never been a time when it does not eventually get there. You don't know what that necessarily is going to mean for price, but I was screaming with, you know, there's a bear div here, bear div here, bear div here, right? That this was likely to go down. Like, I wasn't trading it. I'm not going to pretend that I like took a like 100x mega giga chad short of death, but I just said that, listen, I don't know when it's going to retrace. And yes, that's vague, but like, we're going to oversold. Well, the good news is the last candle closed oversold, right? It was kind of teasing it, whatever. So let's go to the hourly, see what I'm seeing. So we have bull divs on lower time frames already, right? This could just be a reaction to oversold conditions. Technically, we have it there. If this closes below, it would be this closes below here, continued, you know, through. So we have bullish divergence on the hourly. Lower the time frame, the less impactful the divergence is. So we might see a little bounce, which we've seen. That could just be a bottom. What you want to see is you want to see these start to compound to higher time frames. I bet the 30-minute has it as well. Bet the 15-minute has it as well. You see all this rising. So 6 hour, not even oversold yet. So maybe we get there. And obviously, listen, 12 hours even on its way to oversold. Daily, right at 52. So actually, you know, a lot of RSI traders view 50 as sort of the break between bullish and bearish RSI. And you can see that this dip right here stopped right at the 50. So maybe that finds support there. Let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, so the good news is that we now have oversold 4 hour on the RSI. So now that we've ticked that box, what do we know? It's eventually going to become overbought again, right? We made it. We made it. Show me your fibs. So eventually this could go way down here. We can go to 3, you know what I mean? But it's going to eventually make its way back to overbought. So what am I looking for? Well, let me tell you. As I kind of said in the newsletter today, I generally am looking for something like this. Okay, let's see. No, wrong place. It's not going to go in a straight line like that, and it might not happen at all. But something like this, right? Get a bull div here, like this. And okay, might not happen. Very likely to not happen, actually. And that requires price to go down, guys. Down. And it actually requires first for it to go up like this for a minute. For a little while here, we were just up at 33,000, right? On this candle. So when price was up here, this looked like a much more definitive break up. So we need to get that break up first. Right now, RSI is just still heading down. But what's interesting about that is if you've been following me, and you have, because I saw you outside my house. It's weird. Last 2 times we were oversold. Right? Bottom. But what's more interesting now is the fact that it happened. It's the fact that I did this same stupid drawing at both those times in the newsletter. You guys saw them. Right? We were like here, and I drew this same thing. And we were like here, and I drew this same thing. So for me, I would actually take a leverage long if I see that happen. Not saying it will, but that's kind of what I'd be looking for, right? Let's go back to the candle chart. And I'm going to show you my fibs because they're interesting. Fibs are always interesting. Okay, so this move, right, we had a 20% drop here from like 32,000 to 28,000. The world's ending. Bitcoin's dead. Michael Saylor dumped on us. I'll take dumb shit people were saying on Twitter for 800, Alex. Right. God. Right. Okay. So this is this entire local move, right? This is the last move in my mind to the top. So we have a 78.6, probably about an 80% retrace. You can see that the 78.6 fib lines up exactly with the base of these candles, right? And all of these levels are kind of the levels I was showing you before. These are, you know, this was support. Fibs are amazing. You pull them up and then you can look back and price generally interacts with them. It's cool. Yes, I know there's a comment section, bro ho ho. Just busy. Only got one face and it's looking here. If my face is looking here, I can see your silly comments. Bro ho ho. Bro ho ho. It's kind of a tight name for like a jacked white dude on Christmas. Bro ho ho. So this is a very healthy and expected retrace of a move. 78.6. That's about as big as it gets. Bro ho ho. Scott, are you hedged spot? I don't really know what that means. Like 70% of my portfolio is in spot Bitcoin, and I have no intention of doing much with it. You know, good. If it goes 10 grand, still be 70% of my portfolio. Goes to 0 grand, I'm going to be coming to sleep on y'all's couches. All right, so let's zoom this out. So that's one set of fibs. Show me your fibs. You could draw some from here, but I would ultimately say, let's go pull them from, you know, this is ultimately like, let's look. We had this little move off the bottom, all this consolidation, a drop. So ultimately, I think this is the beginning of the move. Let's erase those other ones. Right? So this is the fibs from 98.13 to 41,986. Ethan, dude, I can't sleep on your couch. I thought we were cool. It's messed up. 38.2%. So a 38.2 is a really nice, healthy retrace, right? We got just above it. So that would be a front run of it. It's at 29,696. You know, and look, guys, where did that first candle stop? Exactly at the 23.6. Oh, it's magic. You know. Didn't know that I'd pull that song out, but I know that song. Do I seem like a guy who's depressed about my portfolio? I'm so sad. Yeah. So, you know, you can use these other fib levels. You can see the 50% retracement, not a fib level. If anyone tells you 50% fib, they're wrong. It's called the Dow level because a lot of people look for 50% retracements in the stock market, but it's not a Fibonacci level. It does not have the magic of leaf spirals and raindrops and unicorn piss or whatever Fibonacci things people believe in. It's just nature, man. It's just nature. You know, so the 50%, that's that 2,500, 2,600, 25,000, 26,000 area. And then ultimately, this is where you like it, this would be a golden retrace of this entire move, like 61.8 to like roughly 65.7 for 65%. That'd be like 21 grand, 20 grand. Back the truck up and buy all that, all of it. Don't leave any for your friends because they're not really your friends anyways. They're the guy at the craps table. All right, now let's go all the way back to 3,858, the entire move of this last year. That whatever I just did, it was wrong. Okay, there. Okay. So we've already retraced 23.6% of that move. It's important to clarify when you say, hey, there's a fib retracement, which is of a relative move, and then there's a drop from the top. When we say it's very normal to drop 30%, we're talking about 30% from the highest number. That's not a fib retracement. That's relative to zero, not relative to a fixed point where you start. So that's not the same as a Fibonacci retracement. So once again, 27,421 would be the 38.2 of this entire move. 50% is down here, this action. So those are the areas we're watching. Oh my God, if it comes down to 18,423 at the 61.8, people will literally be shitting their pants in public. I will be buying. That would get me buying. All right? Don't do that in public though. Someone said, from one ADHD to another, I can tell, man. Hope you are getting meds. No, I use coffee. I stopped taking ADHD medication a couple years ago because I just didn't like the vibes. It made my jaw do one of those cokehead things like this after a couple years. So I started doing that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the gist, I think, of where we're at the moment. It's hard to say, hey, are we done? But there's no reason at the moment to believe that we've entered some like multi-year bear market and everything's dead. Like, let's think about this from a fundamental perspective, rationally. We're seeing huge outflows from exchanges, not inflows, outflows. That means that there's large buying and they're moving it to cold storage. Those coins are not coming back. If this is driven by institutional money, it is, then we know that those guys are buying and holding with no intention of selling. They don't care about these drops. It's completely irrelevant. They're using it as a hedge against inflation. It's a reserve asset. They would never sell it and take short-term capital gains anyways under a year. So like this is the whale games up here, right? But the real driver of the rise we've been seeing is that institutional money. Yeah, they might want to buy lower, but they want to buy. The buying interest is still driving the market. And look, this 4-hour candle, we could close green in 20 minutes as the biggest candle in this whole move. I want to just get this out there before anyone else does because I can see it. Doesn't matter, but we're going to see. Oh, no, wrong tool. We're going to see it everywhere. I'm just predicting it. If it bounces here, we're going to see this. All right. So we're going to see people talking about head and shoulders, bro. We're dead. It's over. Dandruff. But you don't worry about that unless you have a defined neckline and that neckline breaks. So trading the idea of a head and shoulders before there's even another shoulder is dumb. And we don't do dumb here. All right, I'm going to go look at the comments over here because I am major behindy. Let's see. I'm going to pull you guys up. up here a little bit so I can read you. So which one is the correct one? Oh, I don't know, man. Alt's good. I mean, Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do, guys. Can't tell you which fibs are going to be the right ones. You draw all the different moves. You look for confluence. You see if there's an area they come together. Yeah. Can you also talk about the effect of UK limitations on Bitcoin banks like HSBC? What was the reason behind this fall? I don't think that's the reason behind the fall. I think it was just a very logical place for people to sell who had a lot of Bitcoin, right? We had like historically high open interest. Long funding was incredibly high. Like you could even view this entire move as just an aggressive long squeeze, right? Cascading liquidations, selling off. People were really FOMOing in. People were really long. And when people get really long, people sell. That's what they do. Antonio says dark mode. No. If I wanted to do dark mode, I'd be doing dark mode, bro. Check out on the light side, not part of the empire. Somebody made my name really big in red. I don't know how you did that. Yash Yadav. Just says 4 hour. Not 4 hour. 4 hour. 4 hour. Cool. Please change your handle to 4 hours, Scott Melkert. Okay, now I went up far enough to see what you're talking about. Lots of Chads buying Lambos, definitely a top indicator. I bought a Tesla 2 days ago. So Ethan, once again, eat it. I don't like you anymore. Can't sleep on your couch. And I bought a car at the top. Yep. I bought a car at the top. I did it. Best sell signal probably that there is. JB Tanner bought sweatpants. Honestly, guys, I never buy anything ever. And I've said this many times, all the things that you sort of dream of buying in your life, the more money you get, the less you care about buying them. It's really an interesting, strange phenomenon. But I think that the idea of buying expensive things is because you can't have them. And once you can, you don't care. Kind of like when you're like dying to talk to some girl, she's hot in high school, and you like spend your whole life, and then she finally talks to you and lets you make out with her, and you're like, her breath is terrible. Why did I like this girl for so long? Right. And that's sort of how it is. So I have never been a material person except for Jordans. I like shoes, and I still don't buy those anymore. I literally don't buy anything. I buy stuff for my kids. I spoil them, and I bought the car basically for my wife. I'll drive it, but like, I don't want to have that girl with the bad breath. That's what it is. I don't buy anything, that's and I think the older you get, you just don't really care. Just don't care. And so, yeah, buying Lambos and stuff and then going broke right afterwards. That is the dumbest of the dumb shit that you can possibly do. I did start to see a lot of watches on Twitter. That was probably a good sign. When dudes half my age can buy $100,000 watches. And by the way, watches are generally kind of stupid investments unless it's like a classic Rolex or just whatever, a Patek Philippe, So I bet a bunch of you guys bought stuff. But you want to buy things, and then you like think about it forever. You're like, I'll buy it when blah, blah, blah happens and blah, blah, blah happens. And then you realize that financial security is a hell of a lot more sexy. Would you do Ethereum analysis? Sure, I actually pulled it up. You've reminded me. See, ADHD just took Hoda. That's his name. Hoda. Ask me. I'm going to do this quick though. Okay. Got the weekly Ethereum USD chart. Just going to give you some levels and move on with my life. Oh, this was the other thing that was driving me nuts. Everybody the other day was saying that Ethereum had hit an all-time high. And I kept looking at the chart. And then I went to like 9 exchanges to see where it hit an all-time high, and it hadn't. I posted a video of BB. I don't know. You remember the Cowboys versus the Bills back in the day, and Leon Lett picked up the fumble and running, and he tried to celebrate a little too early. And this little ass white dude, the hero of all little ass white dudes in the world, BB, slapped it out of his hand at like the half-yard line. Everybody was celebrating in Ethereum all-time high at the 1 yard line, like while running in. And this is BB slapping it out. Did not happen. It's a myth. Okay, this is the line I'd be concerned with right now. Right? It broke these two candles perfectly. It was a swing high over here. 983.31. I say that Ethereum remains a clear buy above 983.31 with a stop loss below, somewhere below 832.37. That's how I would trade it. Not telling you what it's going to do, what it can do, what it will do. I don't know, but that's how you trade that right there, in my opinion. You start at the right, by the way, when you draw. So I would say there's a level right around here. Of course, boing, support, resistance, resistance, break, never came back for years. Broke here, has not been retested as support, technically. Broke on that candle. So, you know, you got all this price action here. There's a clear level there. See, top, bottom, easy. This swing high was the neckline of this massive double bottom here and here. Hit its target. But yeah, I would say you want to hold 983.31 here. This also has tweezer bottoms potentially. Could head up. Zoom into like the 4 hour. I mean, it looks like a Bitcoin chart. It's Ethereum USD. It's gonna take its beatings with its big brother. Ethereum's like the little brother who shows up when his big brother's getting beat up in a fight and just immediately gets beat up. Well, let's look at ETH BTC. Look, Ethereum is beating BTC this month. That's cool. I don't know. I'm not afraid to trade Ethereum. Love it. In fact, just kind of you drill into the daily here. Got a range, obviously. Can't believe you beat up Ethereum. He's so little. This is what's happening with Ethereum, right? Short it below that, long it above that. Very simple. Could also probably draw a little bit of a flaggy kind of thing. There, that's your resistance, though. Okay, those are your two patterns. Done. Ethereum analysis turbo, bro. Let's go see what you guys are talking about. Blockchain is not a Ponzi scheme, dude. What the fuck are you smoking? Just hope you're not talking to me. Hey, Scott, I have a question for you. If you'd give me acknowledgement, raw ability 21, do you think Bitcoin's value is based off of planetary energy output? No, I don't know what that means. Sorry. Is that some like, I mean, Michael Saylor talks about energy and stuff, but I don't know. I don't think that Bitcoin is moving with the planet. You guys are moving really fast. Do you believe in Ethereum or are you a Bitcoin maxi? You haven't been following me long. I love Ethereum. Got a lot of both. And I intend to ride those ships either Titanic style or to the moon. And I will be on both. Do you think Bitcoin will drop and 20, 30K will be the best point to buy as it won't drop below 20K anymore? I don't know that, but I'm telling you that I do not believe that $42,000 is the ultimate top for Bitcoin. So I view any price below that as an opportunity to buy it long term. And I think that is important because we get caught up in all of the levels here, right? Like, oh, is it going to bounce from 31 or 32, bro? And the fibs and you pivoted on my fib cloud. None of that shit matters at all if you're an investor. If you're an investor and you're looking at this long term, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it is that kind of asset, by the way. You should be thinking about your Bitcoin in 20 years. Most of my Bitcoin is in cold storage in multi-sig. I cannot even access the majority of my Bitcoin without going to many, many, many places because people threaten to rob me. But that's for my kids. That's their saving account, right? I'm not touching it because I view this as a generational asset. So yeah, I don't even remember what I was talking about, except for that. Yeah, I don't. Oh yeah. So I don't think that, you know, you have to worry about an entry. What's the difference between buying at 28 or 30 if it goes to 100 or 300 or 400 or $1 million, right? Pivoted on my fib cloud, bro. So I think we're talking about, I actually had a really interesting podcast conversation today that I think will be out Thursday with a guy named Edan Yago. His platform is Sovereign, but he's an old school Bitcoin guy. And he made an incredible analogy that I'm going to steal right now. He said that if you grew up in the 1970s, 1980s, you had to make one good financial decision your entire life, and that was buy a house. If you bought a house anytime in the last 50 years before like 2007, 2008, it was a singular financial decision that was enough to basically be a foundation for the rest of your financial life. You owned a house, the price always went up, right? That's how he views Bitcoin, and I tend to agree with him, right? Is that Bitcoin is our one chance of our generation to buy something, not be a jackass and trade it all away and hold it indefinitely. It could be the only thing that you ever need. Avicii fib levels, that's funny. Fibs. Fibs. Yeah. How much did you make in Celsius interest today? It's pretty good. I love interest. It's my favorite thing. Hey, Scott, I'm always confused about whether it's better to look at ETH USD or ETH BTC. It is confusing. I generally tend to think that it's probably better to look at any. Ethereum might be the exception because it sort of has a life of its own. But in general, I think it's much better to look at alts against Bitcoin. Talk about this all the time because people are always like, oh, bro, my alt list went up like 6% today, man. Like I had $100. Now I have $106. I'm fucking rich. But Bitcoin was up like 20%. And if they had just held Bitcoin, they'd have $120. So what you did was you traded yourself out of gains. You lost Bitcoin and did not maximize the amount of US doll hairs of dolls that you could have made on that move, right? Wow, there's so many questions here. I have a call in 7 minutes and have to piss like the proverbial racehorse. So I've got about 1 more minute. Damn, LOL. I just want to know what platform Scott uses in the States. I'm very transparent about that. I use Voyager. I trade on Voyager. And I hold Bitcoin in multisig with Casa and also on Celsius, BlockFi, and Voyager for interest. And I keep them spread out. What's your favorite low cap? What's your favorite low cap? What's your favorite low cap? Yasser Pepin wants to know, what's your favorite low cap? Hey, type it again. What's your favorite low cap? Hey, if you type it 17 more times, okay, I'm waiting. 16. Forgot, he hasn't done it 17 more times, so I'm not going to tell him. But I have tweeted all of my holdings over and over and over again. I can tell you that my largest bags at the moment, altcoins that have gotten heavier and heavier. Okay, dude, not really 16 more times. I got you. Elitium, EUM, I took a sizable investment in the company. And I'm running a masternode, which is 100,000 coins. And Polka Starter. And what's your favorite low cap? What's your favorite low cap? What's your favorite low cap? And a bunch of other shit. I've listed it. Join the newsletter, bruh. Join it. Thoughts on DOT, please. It's great. DOT's great, guys. DOT is great. It's new paradigm. Going to change the world. It's the only platform in the whole world that will ever matter. That's not true, but DOT's cool. DOT's cool. What's the next good crypto project? I don't know because I don't have the future. I can't tell it. What do you think Bitcoin will go down to? I'm new to the trading investing world. Christopher Muniz, buddy, I don't know. And let me tell you this frankly, nobody knows. And so I know that like your instinct, everyone, is to go on Twitter or go on YouTube and ask people where price is going to go. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own financial decisions, and nobody has a crystal ball that can tell you the future. If a trader tells you where price is going to go as opposed to where they think it could go, run, because they have no idea and nobody else does. Thoughts on Big L? Big L, rest in peace. I love Big L. Would have been one of the greatest rappers of all time. If you were starting out, would you trade stocks or crypto? The answer is definitely crypto. although stocks only go up. So that's cool. That's cool. You guys are typing your asses off. What tips would you give for newcomers? That's a very good question. Not financial advice, but I would dollar cost average slowly into Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum and not check your portfolio ever. Just slowly buy it, regardless of price, at a fixed time, and make money. Yeah, big strong guy, full clip. Knows about Gangstar. Full clip. Do you want to mess with this? Gangstar, the best yet. Funny story before I go. That was like my favorite song to beat Juggle, and I stole it from DJ Jazzy Jeff because I used to open for him, and he used to always do this thing. He'd take the beginning, went Big L, rest in peace. So he'd run doubles the record. So I basically copied him. I admit it. You go Big L, rest in peace. Big L, rest in peace. Tricky Big L, rest in peace. Tricky Big L. There's this Boyd. You're here. You probably heard me do that before. I saw you in here. But yeah, so I used to always beat Juggle that shit. It was awesome. On those very turntables, which I bought in 1997, right there. Oh, guys, I got to go. I have a call. There's people that need me, a family. Oh, obviously, you guys asked also about platform. I trade on Femex with leverage. And yes, it's a gray area for Americans like any leverage exchange, and I will not pretend otherwise. Oh, yeah, you guys are supposed, yeah, Boyd just told me I have to ask you guys because I wouldn't be a self-respecting YouTuber if I did not say smash the like button. Thumbs up, you guys, smash it. Smash the button. Smash it. And yeah, I got to go. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Maybe I'll get on again tomorrow, but I will definitely be on charting the shit out of altcoins on Wednesday. You guys are really, really amazing. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me because I'm just another dude like the rest of you who's out here just trying to figure it out. You know, like there are traders better than me. There are investors better than me. There are people smarter than me. There are certainly people who are better looking than me. But you know, I'm learning like the rest of you and trying to get this money. But all I can say is don't panic. It's fine. We're all good. All right. Peace, guys.